What's going on, guys? Welcome back to this video. Today we're going to discuss and talk about Brim. Brim is one of the most popular tools in two domains. The first one, it is used in packet analysis. And the other domain is log analysis. Okay, so this reminds me with another popular tool, which is, if you remember, guys, it was Zeek, and there is also Wireshark. And previously we discussed another tool called Network Miner. It can also be used to, analyze packets in live mode or in offline mode. Now, when it comes to log analysis, we prefer to go with Zeek. Alright, so now, what is Brim? So Brim is an open source program to, analyze PCAP files and log files. So what is the benefit of Brim? Let's do a quick comparison between Brim, Zeek, and Wireshark. So the bottom line is, the first thing is, Brim can be used for large PCAP files. Okay. If you got a PCAP file, a huge PCAP file, like it's above 200 megabyte, it's better to go with Brim. So why Brim? Because Brim provides two distinct functionalities. The first one is search, or a powerful search engine through which we can search the packets, plus it provides GUI interface in addition to visualization. So when we analyze a PCAP file, we can use the search engine to search the files, GUI. Additionally, it is a GUI interface, and it provides the ability to view the logs or the results in a chart, or especially if it was for the purpose of data analytics. There is additional thing about Brim, which is it's a query system. It has a query system where we can execute queries to extract data and insights. Okay, so what about Wireshark now? What's the difference between Brim and Wireshark? Wireshark can be used for medium sized PCAPs. Wireshark is still used to analyze, PCAPs. So Wireshark and Brim share the ability to analyze packets. But thing is, it's better to go with Wireshark when it is in medium size, and when it is large enough, we analyze it with Brim. Now, another difference is that, if you remember, in Zeek, there is no GUI interface. Contrary to Wireshark, Brim, and Network Miner, there is no GUI. But on the other hand, Zeek is a tool that can be reliably used to analyze logs effectively. If you remember, Zeek provides 50 plus logs when we analyze a PCAP file. So the power of Zeek comes from analyzing the logs. The power of Brim comes from the engine of analyzing packets and the ability to handle large files. The power of Wireshark is similar to Brim, but comes when used with medium-sized packets. Okay, now we need to switch to the GUI interface of Brim, but before doing so, let me, guys, walk you through the query system of Brim. So in Brim, there are two types of queries. The first one is default query. Also, we have the default queries, and the other type of queries is the custom queries. Okay, so what is the difference between them? In default queries, they are provided by Brim when you open the GUI interface, so they are ready to use. You don't need to write them yourself. Ready to use. Let me write this here. On the other hand, custom queries, you need to write them yourself. So you need to rely on what is called the operators. You need to have a knowledge of operators, syntaxes, to be able to write a custom query. Sometimes a custom query can be written, okay, right from a default query. For example, let's have an example of a default query. A default query can be a query that extracts DNS hosts, activity overview. We will see them in a while. And for example, HTTP requests. These are default queries that we will see in a while. So we call these default queries. They are ready to use and provide when we open Brim. What about custom queries? Custom queries are the queries that we build ourselves. Now, before building custom queries, we need to understand the basic operators used by Brim. What are possible operators used by Brim? The first thing is the logical operators. So we have logical operators. An example could be or, not, and we have and. Now these are logical operators used to connect between queries. For example, in the Brim search bar here, we can write the queries. Let's say we want to search for an IP address and a specific port. So what we could do, we can write the IP here, okay, and we can use the word and write the port. Hence, we are instructing Brim to show all the logs where the IP address and the port are mentioned together. That's an example of the logical operators, and they are used to build custom queries. Next, we have the filter values. So filter values, and the only example we can see in Brim is the equal operator, which is double equal signs. So why we use this? If we want to search for specific value in the search operator, such as, for example, if I want to search for a specific IP, I could write source underscore IP equal to 10, 10, 10, 10. So then Brim will search for the packets where the source IP equals to this value. Another use for the filter values is the when we specify a log file. So in the activity overview here query, which is a default query, we can show all the log files. The log files of what? The log files of the pcap we've provided. Remember that when we provide the pcap file, Brim will extract all the log files possible or generate all the possible log files. While conducting the analysis with Brim, we may need to search within a specific log file. So we use the keyword underscore path equal to the log file. Let's say it's dns.log. We use this in the search bar. We instruct Brim to search in this DNS log file. Okay. Another thing is the count or the statistical functions, the stats. An example is the count. Count function shows you the number of the number of values in a specific field. Okay, let's now have a new page. Another statistical function is the not statistical function. It's actually mixed between statistical function and file processing function. It is the sort. So sort can be used to sort recursively the ascending or descending order. An example to demonstrate the use of count and sort is, let's say, a query can be like count, okay, by let's say underscore path, and then we pipe to sort dash r. So what does this query do? First, we use the count by. So count by what? This is the factor. The factor is the log file. Here we are counting the number of available log files. Okay, and then we sort them recursively. So you could count the number of log files by using the underscore path. You could also here, instead of underscore path, you could use a field such as source underscore IP. You could count the number of source IP addresses and sort them recursively. Okay, now let's mention another operator used while we conduct search and extract data. We can use something called the cut. So cut is used to cut a specific field from a log file. An example could be, example query could be underscore path. Let's say we want to extract data from the DNS log or connection log. So connection log. Forgot to tell you guys that you need to use double quotes when mentioning a log file. And then we pipe this to cut, and here we put the field name. Okay, how do we know the field name here? So basically, before using the cut, you have to take a look at the connection log. So first we execute this query, and Brim will display all of the results, all of the packets contained in this log file. While doing so, we will be able to learn the fields in this log file. If you're interested in extracting specific data from a specific field, then we use the cut and we put the field name here. Another one is unique. Unique is used to extract the unique values and eliminate duplicates. So now we know basics about Brim. Let's now jump to the GUI interface and go over the main sections. Okay, so what do we have in here? First thing is the pools. The pools on the left pane shows us the available packet or the PCAP files we are analyzing. So here, if we go ahead and choose a specific file, let's say we go with, let's go to exercise files, and from here we select the sample PCAP. As you can see, the sample PCAP file now appears on the left pane under pools. So pools shows all of the available PCAP files. Of course, we can choose more than one file to analyze more than one file by clicking on the plus on here. Now we have the queries. These are the default queries we talked about earlier. They are ready queries, as you can see here. We can execute them on the sample PCAP file. And here we can see the history. All of the queries we have executed, whether they are within the default queries or custom queries we have built ourselves. Okay, so now we click on the PCAP file here to display all of the packets. Okay. As you can see, guys, we have all of the available packets on here. Now we can click on a specific packet and we right click and open details. When we open the details, we can see all of the available fields, right? These fields are part within the respective log file. Now, how to find the log file? Basically, as you can see, guys, we have the keyword con, NTP, DNS. These are these represent the log files. So when we click on a sample packet from this log file, we can see the fields right in this log file. Now, if you want more details about what are the log files extracted from this PCAP, we can execute a specific query, which is activity overview. So execute activity overview by double click on overview, and we can see, guys, all of the available log files extracted. We can see, for example, under connection log, we have 87 packets. DNS, we have 16 packets. Okay, going back now, double click on the sample PCAP. All right. So another thing to note here is the bar here. So the bar here, we have a couple things to note. The first thing is the date. Here we can filter the start and the end dates. And this shows us the respective packets that fall within this date. And we can filter, we can control the view, and here we can export the packets, of course. Now, when exporting the packets, we can then import them into another tool, such as Zeek, Wireshark, or T-Shark. Alright, now we have explained the basic sections in here. Let's go back to the query section. Since we're using Brim from a security analyst perspective, we need to understand the purpose of every single query from here. So we discuss activity overviews. Now we have unique DNS queries. If you click on that, double click on this, as you can see, it shows you the raw query. And we can see all of the DNS queries made. As you can see, we have 15 queries made to this domain name and 1 made to this domain name. It's very useful if you want to extract information about traffic made to C2 servers. We have Windows networking activity. This query focuses on Windows networking activity and details the source and destination addresses. So it can be used to detect, for example, SMB connections. If you go back here to the main view, and again execute Windows networking activity, no results. It means there is no packets that fall within Windows networking activity. Let's go back to the PCAP now. Alright, so what do we have in here? HTTP requests, unique network connections. Now, unique network connections is also useful if you want to view information about the bytes transferred. Also, you can, if you double click on that, we can see it in real. We can see here, guys, all the IP addresses, right? And here we can see the port number and the destination IP addresses. These are the destination port and IP addresses respectively. We can see all of the connections from here. Okay, another useful one is, let's see here, file activity. So the file activity provides the list of the available files. It helps you to detect possible data leakage if you are monitoring your network. And also, it helps you extract suspicious files that may be transferred. So if you execute this, we see no results. It means no files were transferred. And we have this, show IP subnets. Let's go back first. If we double click on this to execute it, we can see the list of the available IP subnets. It helps you guys to detect possible communications outside your network or the scope of the analysis. And we have Suricata alerts. Now, Suricata is an open source, if you remember, guys, it's an open source threat detection that can be used as an IPS IDS system, much like Snort. The thing is, in Suricata alerts by category, source, and subnet, these queries provide information based on the Suricata alerts or Suricata rule results. If a rule is triggered, we can see an entry in here. 3 different queries are available, as you can see, guys, to view the available logs in different formats. So we have category based, we have source and destination based, and we have subnet based. If you execute the category based, we can see that there is nothing. Okay, back to another one, and here there is nothing. Okay, we're gonna take now a practical scenario, guys, to demonstrate the real use of default queries and custom queries. Now, as always, we're going to credit this practical scenario to TryHackMe. We're going to discuss task 6 and task 7. In task 6, we'll be discussing threat hunting with the Brim, malware C2 detection. So we're giving a PCAP file, and we are told that it represents communications on a compromised machine. So we need to extract evidence that would indicate that there was malware infection. So we need to extract IOCs, hashes, IP addresses, C2 domains about the malware from the PCAP file we provide. So we go ahead, proceed, and we use Brim. So we're gonna add a new PCAP file from here. Choose desktop exercise task 6 malware C2. We're going to need to start the analysis. So as you can see, we have lots of packets. So how do we start? We should follow certain methodology when analyzing PCAP files, especially when we need to extract evidence. So the methodology, you can start with, for example, extracting the frequently communicated hosts. So we need to execute custom queries. Let's take this one, for example. I'm going to explain how we built this. So we're gonna paste. All right, as you can see, guys, first thing, we use the path keyword because we want to extract data from a specific log file. In this case, we want to extract data from the connection log. So use the connection keyword or the name of the log file. And then we're going to use cut because we want to extract the data from specific fields. Remember that you can view the available fields by clicking on a sample packet, and then you can open the details, and from here we can see the available fields. So what we want to do, we want to extract the frequently communicated hosts, right? Why? Because we want to see the list of IP addresses, okay? And we want to see which are the IP addresses that communicate the most. This would give us insights on what to focus on, right? So here we want to extract the origin IP address, meaning the source IP address, and the destination IP address or the response IP address. We sort them and we eliminate the duplicates using the unique keyword. See, it's very easy. We're going to click search. As you can see, guys, we see here all of the available communicated IP address. So we want to revise this query a bit. We want to display the count. Okay, so what we can do here, so we have the first original IP address. Let's now here use additional field. Let's now extract destination port using ID response port. So ID dot response underscore port. We put a comma and now we added a new field. We want to see the ports as well. Okay, now we have sort, and then we want to eliminate the duplicates. That's fine. Let's use -c as well, and then we want to sort -r count. So we want to sort them according to the count. Okay, as you can see, guys, now we display, in addition to the source and destination IP addresses, we display the destination port. We want to see the nature of these communications. As you can see, we have packets over 443, meaning we have HTTPS requests. We also have packets on port 53, DNS requests on port 135. As you can see, we have the count of packets. So the packets here, we have 184 packets between this IP address and this one, and they are under DNS packets. Another thing that draws our attention is this. So this IP address has sent exactly 75 packets to this IP address over port 443. Same one here. The same IP address, as you can see, sent over 69 packets to this IP address on port 443. And same as well here. The same IP address sending the same to the same destination IP address. So we have like a huge number of packets, 75, 69, if you add them together, right? and they are actually originating from the same source IP address to the same destination IP address on port 443, meaning they are HTTPS communications. So this is, you can write this as a note when you are analyzing real PCAF file. So this IP address now has drawn our attention for further analysis. Okay, fine. Now what about if we take a look at the port numbers and available services before we focus on the suspicious IP address? So now if we go back, we revise our query. So here, let's remove the original IP address. We keep the destination port and we add the service field. The service field will display the service that's installed on the port. So we're going to keep everything as is and we execute this. So as you can see, guys, it will tell us what are the services installed on every single port. So on port 443, which holds the highest number of packets exchanged, 367, there is SSL or HTTPS. Then we have DNS, then we have SSL. So beside the packets exchanged over HTTPS, we have the packets exchanged over DNS. We have 184 requests over the DNS. So let's now take a look at what are these domains that were requested. To be able to do that, we're going to need to modify the log file. We're going to view now the DNS log file. Okay, and then we're going to change this. So we want to see all of the available domains requested, and we want to sort them by the count. So count by query sort -r. Okay, now we see all of the requested domain names and we can see the counts. So hashing old or hash, it's like hashing all the top holds the highest number of requests, 49. Okay, now what about if we go to virus total? Oh, I thought we were looking on a browser. Let's now open virus total. So now, with virus total, we can see we have 11 out of 89 malicious markings. If we go to relations, we can check out the IP addresses belonging to this domain. So we can see this IP address 45.147, we have 5 detections or 5 flags. Go back now to Brim. If you remember, guys, we witnessed this IP address before, so it was here. So this IP address was, as you can see, mentioned or caught in the communications in the PCAF file, and it was on port 443. So clearly, guys, this IP address or the source IP address was making requests to the C2 domain we have just looked up. The new two IP addresses we are seeing now is a 68 and 137. These are new IP addresses belonging to this domain name. So that's the first C2 domain we have discovered. And we also discovered the IP addresses. These are called the indicators of compromise. Now, we are not finished yet. We're going to need to analyze the other domain names. So out of these domain names, they look like P9 domain names belonging to reputable companies. Scrolling down, we have this weird looking domain name. It looks like the name is could make it, but there is no C here. Could make it happen. Okay, let's now look this up. Could make it. So there is no C here. It hap.alt.top. Let's look this up, and then we have 14 detections. Go to relations, and again we can see, guys, the IP addresses. So this one, let's take a look here at the IP address we have analyzed, end with 138.229. Yeah, this is the same IP address we saw before. So clearly, guys, this IP address belongs to two C2 servers. in addition to these IP addresses. So now we have uncovered the C2 domains and the respective IP addresses. Are we finished? No, we need to extract other indicators of compromise, which are the files. To extract the files, we need to use another log file. So let's open it now, new tab, click on the PCAP file, and here we're going to take an example query and work with it from here. So you want to search the HTTP logs, and we want to extract the source IP address. We need also to extract the destination IP address here and destination port. We also need the method, the HTTP method, the host, the URL. And no need for this sort now. We're gonna restructure this query, eliminate the duplicates, unique -c, and we're gonna sort. Let's not use sort now. Let's see here how the query looks first. So now we can see, guys, all of the exchanged HTTP packets, and we can see that there is a file downloaded. It's an executable file, right? It was downloaded from this IP address 104.168.44.45. So this looks to me as another C2 domain, right? So previously we uncovered these two based on the DNS queries and the detections from VirusTotal. Now we see an executable file downloaded. Now what we need to do, we need to have a hold on this executable file and analyze it. If it was malicious, then we conclude that the other C2 domain, or the third C2 domain, is a domain whose IP address is this. So now, if we don't have the file, we can take the aid of the Suricata alerts. Let's open a new tab here, click on the related PCAP file, and then scroll down to show Suricata alerts by category. So we see here potential corporate. These are the alerts detected by Suricata. So we have unknown traffic 339, potentially bad traffic, a network Trojan was detected. We have 6 counts. If we expand this, oh, okay. So now we're going to need to discuss, or we're going to need to dig more into this, because it's very, kind of intriguing. Network Trojan was detected. Was it the executable file? We still don't know yet. So let's now do another thing. And we're gonna search with this. Okay, so when we search with network Trojan was detected, we can see, guys, that these are the packets, and the destination IP address happens to be the IP address we detected earlier, from which there was a file downloaded. Fine, now we can conclude, guys, that the other C2 domain belongs to this IP address, because from this IP address we have a malware that was downloaded. So now we know the IP addresses of the C2 servers. We know the name of the malware we extracted. We can also extract the MD5 hash and the other hashes. So now we successfully extracted all of the indicators of compromise of the event. Okay, now we need to answer a couple questions. So go to task 6 now. What is the name of the file downloaded from the Cobalt Strike C2 connection? So the file name was here. This is the file name, and it belongs to a C2 server. So now next we have to find the number of Cobalt Strike connections using port 443. So how do we know that this is Cobalt Strike? We're gonna need to search with this IP address. Let's have a search here. 104.168.44. Let's have the opinion of VirusTotal on this IP address. So we have only two relations. Indeed, guys, there is some talk about Cobalt Strike. So indeed, this IP address belongs to Cobalt Strike, and that's the malware witnessed in the wild downloaded from the C2 server. So now we go back here and we need to answer this question. So now we know where the Cobalt Strike comes from. What is the number of Cobalt Strike connections using port 443? So the Cobalt Strike C2 server we detected has this IP address that we have just analyzed. We need now to extract the number of connections on port 443. So let's open now a new tab with the same pcap file and write a new query. Underscore path equal, it needs to be the connection log, and then we need to extract the destination IP address. Why destination IP address? Because we are investigating the C2 domain or the C2 IP address. It was the IP address from which the malicious file was downloaded. So it needs to be, we need to use it in the filters here. Equal to the IP address of the C2 server we have just uncovered. So copy that, paste it here, and then we have to extract the destination port. Needs to be 443, and then let's enter. Looks like we have an issue in the query. Underscore path, yeah, double equal sign, and now we can see all the packets where the destination IP is the Cobalt Strike IP and the port is 443. We still not finished. We want to find the count. So count by destination port or destination IP. We can do destination port, and we can see we have 328 connections. There is an additional C2 channel used in the given case. What is the name of the secondary C2 channel? We can find it from here. Second channel was ICE ID. So now we have covered a scenario of investigating a malware infection. Let's now cover another scenario where we investigate crypto mining events. So we have detected a crypto mining event. We want to investigate. We have extracted the pcap file from the machine, and now we want to analyze the crypto mining event and extract related artifacts. So now let's close all of this. Okay. So the first thing we're going to start with, again, we're going to see the most frequently communicated hosts. So we're going to copy this. Okay. Right. Before doing this, let's first take a look at the log files. So we have these log files. We have 996 logs, packets in the connection log file, and we have weird ones here. Missing one and weird one, stats, capture loss. Most probably we're gonna focus on the connection log. All right, let's copy this one more time. Okay, so path, the connection log. We're gonna extract the origin IP address, and we need to extract the origin port. I don't know why I forget the origin port or destination port, sorry. Comma, and destination IP address. We're gonna sort them, and then unique. Let's now execute this. Okay, let's now sort one more time. Okay, so these are the most frequently communicated hosts. We can see weird port numbers we haven't seen before. Let's do this from scratch. So sort. Okay, now we sorted them. We're gonna use unique, eliminate the duplicates. -C. Okay, now we have the count, and then sort recursively while showing the count. Okay, so now it looks much more clear. So we have two counts on port 443, and other counts looks like all the packets are distributed, but we can see this IP address. What draws attention is this IP address. All of the packets originate from this IP address. So we can take a note now of this IP address. Let's now open a new tab and search search to show the available ports and their usage, meaning you want to list the ports and the services. I'm gonna copy this for now. Okay, so we search the connection log. We want to show only the ports. So destination port and the service. Okay, let's now remove this or keep it. Okay, now we can see the packets count according to the port. So the most count is accredited to this port, on port 43s. Okay, so we're gonna keep this here, and next we're gonna launch a new search. While or when investigating crypto mining events, we are interested in learning the byte size or the size of the bytes transferred, because usually crypto mining events consume a lot of bandwidth. So if we learn what are the IP addresses on what ports, the bandwidth were consumed the most, we'll be able to narrow down our search. Let's see if we have one that can help us find the transfer data. So this one looks promising. Let's take a look at this. Guys, this query, we can use it to investigate or calculate the transferred data size. If the client is not designed to serve and receive files and act as a file server, it's important to investigate the total bytes of each connection. So this query, overall, it helps us calculate the byte size or the data size, the size of data transferred from each host. And if a host wasn't dedicated to serve files, it would be suspicious if this host was consuming a lot of bandwidth and data size. So thus, analysts can distinguish possible data exfiltration or suspicious file actions like malware downloading and spreading. Let's execute this query here. So as you can see, guys, we have massive traffic originating from the suspicious IP address we mentioned earlier. So we were kind of doubting that this IP address had malicious traffic originating from. So if we go here, we can see that this original IP address, we see it again here. And we have massive data transfer. If we focus on the total bytes, we can see we have 36,000 bytes, 10,000 bytes from the same IP address. Now, this would raise question marks. Why would this IP address transfer this much or this size of data? So what we're going to need to do now, we have to investigate further this IP address. Thus, we're going to need to turn our heads to the Suricata alerts, because usually Suricata IDS would trigger alerts if this number of bytes is transferred. So we're going to go here and click on Suricata alerts by category. We can see cryptocurrency mining activity detected, and we have 944 detected events. If we just copy this and search with it, okay, we can see all of the crypto mining activity here. And look at this, guys. It happens to be that this IP address we were investigating earlier is found here. Now, you might be asking me, why don't we jump immediately to the Suricata alerts? The answer is we have to create a story. We cannot just jump right off the bat to Suricata alerts and investigate the IP address. It wouldn't make sense, and it wouldn't be beneficial to the context of the investigation. We have to understand the statistical information about the connections, the IP addresses, the ports used, and then we can narrow down the search. Now the next step is to narrow down the search more to show the packets originated from this IP address, or to show all the related packets to the IP address we mentioned earlier, which is 192.168.1.100. So here we're gonna click on this, and we're gonna use a keyword underscore path equal connection 192.168.1.100. These are all of the packets. Okay, we can see them here. We can also export them if you want to analyze them with another tool, but for now we know what happened. If you go now back to the Suricata category here, and we search with the crypto mining, I don't know why it was lost. So we know now where to focus on. We have to focus now our investigation on this IP address. But this IP address is local IP address or private IP address. So we need now to investigate more the machine holding this IP address. We need to find out what is the software used to used in the crypto mining. Usually crypto miners they install a piece of software to do all the mining activity. We have to find out where is that piece of file. We cannot extract further insights from this PCAP because the only log file we had is the connection log. We don't have HTTP logs, we don't have DNS logs, it's only connection logs. So there is the Bitcoin miner here was doing all of this noise and fuss. Okay, now we have to go back and answer the questions. Let's see here. How many connections used port 199,000. Okay, back here, gonna open a new tab, click on the PCAP. So we're gonna search with the only log file we have, which is connection log, and then we're gonna need to search with the port responsive or respond port equal to 199. How many nines we have? 4 nines, and then count by ID respond P. I want to count how many packets. They have 22 on this. What is the name of the service used by port 6666? Okay, back here you all need to modify the port. So 6666. Let's first display the packets. We need to extract the service. Let's take a look at the sample packet and click on detail. We'll see if there is, yeah, we have the field service. We're going to extract the values under this field. We use cut service and then eliminate the duplicates. So it is IRC service. What is the amount of transferred total bytes to this IP address? Okay, let's now go back. We have executed a similar query here. Gonna take this, go back, but we're going to do some revision on this path connection. We're gonna leave this as is because this is the formula to count the bytes. We're gonna remove all of these or keep some of them. Remove this first, the sort, and we're going to write the IP address, which is here. Okay, and then we need to use another pipe to extract the port. Okay, and the rest is the fields we want to extract. The UID is fine, the ID is fine, the origin bytes, the responded bytes, and total bytes. So this one is good to go. So what's the amount of transfer total bytes? Is 3,729. As you can see, again, it was originated from this IP address. What is the detected MITRE tactic ID? So now I have to find out like indirect information from the investigation. So MITRE tactic ID. MITRE, if you remember, it's a framework that enables us to study the attacker's techniques, tactics, and procedures. So to be able to do that, we're going to need to open Suricata alerts and search the alerts. So we have these alerts. Usually Suricata alerts contain the MITRE tactic ID we need to extract. We have to see the fields from here. So we have event type, alert severity, signature, category, ID, GID, metadata, so that the metadata can be useful. Scrolling down, we can see other fields related to metadata, such as the MITRE technique name, the MITRE technique ID. So if we extract these, alert.metadata MITRE tactic underscore ID, we can see the ID, and then we can sort, eliminate duplicates. You can see the ID name is TA0040. So that's the detected tactic. So now guys, and this tactic, as you can see guys, it is connected to the crypto mining we have just uncovered. So guys, that was it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we're gonna talk more about Brim and take more exercises in the upcoming videos.